Yo, what up, everyone? It's Led Black, and I want to welcome you to a very special episode of Uptown Voices. This is our first Black and Blanco, which is me and my brother Octavio Blanco just chopping it up, talking about things on our mind.
Black, Octavio Blanco and Led Black.
Right, exactly, the Black and Blanco, and no guests, just the two of us just chopping it up, talking about things on our mind. So first of all, Octavio, you want to say thank you, right? Like, this is, thank you for pushing me to do this. Like sometimes you get so busy, so much things happening, and this has been like a really good journey. We're like, how many episodes in? 11?
This is going to be, this Black and Blanco makes us episode 11. Yep.
Lucky 11. That's dope. So, you know what I mean? So we got a little trajectory happening, you know what I mean? And it's been a real pleasure, man. How you feeling about this thing right now, where we at?
Yeah. It's been fun. It's been interesting. The people that we've had on have been real high caliber people who deserve a platform to appear on and to talk about the good things that they're doing. That's what we're trying to do here, is celebrate the people who are making our community better, and the people who are really like adding, substance and giving our people opportunity. So it's been fun. It's been interesting. It's been fulfilling, something that has been, professionally, I think a lot of people find that fulfillment can be lacking. So at least in doing this, I do think that it's fulfilling. I think, like you were saying, I don't think that there are other podcasts or even other news outlets. Not that we're covering news, but there's really not a lot of focus being given to the neighborhood and to the people in the neighborhood. That's positive, anyway.
Right, and I agree, because I love social media, right? That's what I do for a living, you know what I mean? But I also feel that, like, you need a little bit more in depth. You need to have we need to be having conversations, not just little talks. We need to really talk, especially now with everything happening. So I think the show's been great, to kick it off with Neria from Noma. We've had, Dave Hunt from Coogan's. We just had so many great people so far. And Carmen, we did Carmen yesterday, Carmen de la Rosa, who's a council member. And every episode, I learned something about not just the guests, but about life. I think it was Adam Blasey who kind of like, again, because what's funny, and I know you know this, but I've been my whole life like kind of a race person, right? I tend to look at history and things through the lens of race. Not so much class sometimes, right? And my reasoning is, sometimes I think people that look at through the lens of class sometimes don't look at race enough. And that bothers me, right? So sometimes you discount something, but the way Adam broke it down in that episode, how like the landlords are a class and the tenants need to look at themselves as a class, because it's us against them, and to see who's going to have the overall power. That was like kind of like really mind-opening. So I'm learning a lot in the podcast. How about you, man?
Absolutely. I mean, I think for me, it's been such a whirlwind, to be honest. It's been a lot of work to produce these episodes. It's amazing.
Yeah, for real.
So a lot of it's funny how,
clap for that. You've been doing your thing, brother. Thank you, man. You've been doing a lot of work, man.
No, thank you. And thank you. I mean, like, without your depth of knowledge and your connection, this couldn't have happened. I've been loving it. I do think that the things that I've been learning a lot about is just more than learning, is being inspired. Sometimes it's so lacking to find inspiration. And I think the people that we've talked to, they've all had, nobody's had it made. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's had it like easy. Everybody's been at it for a while, and it's inspiring to hear their stories and to see how they persevered and what happened in their lives and how they came about it. And we do talk about the issues. I mean, we do talk about the stuff that's like, kind of like, frankly, about the neighborhood. Even we love the neighborhood. Like we do touch on those things, and we're trying to figure out ways to improve it. And I think by showing other people's success stories and showing other people's, way that they come away with the work that they're doing and what they've had to put into it, I think that helps to that just helps. I also like just the way that this sort of came about. Like, you and me, we always run into each other on the sidewalk, and we end up spending an hour just talking
Talking
about
shit,
something,
yeah.
like sometimes
About
we agree,
a bunch
sometimes
of
we
different
don't
topics.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh, sometimes,
Yeah.
I'm sure you are too with what
Yeah,
I
for
say.
sure, man.
So like I love that this was a very natural thing, and so it works so far. It's worked, and I want to keep
Yeah,
doing it.
for sure,
What
man.
about you? What like do you want to keep doing it? Are you
No, man,
psyched about this?
I'm super psyched about it. You know what I mean? It's just, it's again, it's for me. I'm learning a lot from the people that we have on, and then also thinking about how we build community. This is about also building community, right? Like we're taking, we're kind of just starting this, but also it's about people, let's talk, let's have those conversations that we need to talk, right? Because there's an onslaught coming. Like I've been saying it for a minute, right? And it's not a joke. I heard I don't know if I told you, but today, what's today's date?
Today's
July
the
24th. Thursday, July 24th. I heard ICE was in the neighborhood. I heard ICE was at the Bridge Apartments on Wadsworth, right? And then I heard also yesterday. We had the weird. Okay, we have to talk about that weird incident that happened on the weekend of the July 4th, right? So
Yeah.
on 4th of July weekend, while I was on the other side of the river. You know what I'm saying? Having a great block party, the 4th annual Wash Heights reunion where all the OGs, Pete Rock was there, Strafe was there performing, set it off on the right, y'all. Set it off on. It was amazing, right? On the very other side, underneath the George Washington Bridge, right by the Little Red Lighthouse,
Like right next to it.
an off-duty border agent was shot by two undocumented Dominican tigres. And for me, that part of it is straightforward. They were tigres. They saw a mark. They went for it. What I don't understand and what the media is not talking about is what was that man doing underneath the George Washington Bridge at Saturday night at 12:30 in the morning. Right?
Yeah.
That's not so.
Yeah.
That area is beautiful in the daytime. You got the tennis courts. You got the Little Red Lighthouse. Little Red Lighthouse is cute, but you don't go there past when it goes night.
It's misguided to go there at night.
It's not
especially that
misguided.
late.
It's not misguided. I'm sorry. You're a border agent. You're strapped. I'm sorry. You're not. You knew what you was doing, and again, there's a lot of underworld activity happening in the parks at night. Whatever that dude was doing, that's the story that no one's talking about, right? Yes, those people did a crime, whatever. They're wrong. What was that guy doing there at that time? The mystery. It's a mystery.
It's a mystery. I don't know. Like, look, we can speculate. But at the end of the day, look. I think those two undocumented Dominican dudes.
Thing is, their story makes sense. Their story makes sense, but there's no way. Okay, you don't get to that part. You think about this. You live right next to me. So there's no way you could get underneath the bridge just by walking. Right? You're going to go underneath the bridge for a reason. No one that ever grew up here would ever go underneath the bridge at 12:30 by yourself or with another person. It's different if you're having a jam, but you and another person is very, very. And again, what I'm saying is no one's talking about that, right? There's no mainstream media is saying, hey, what was that person off duty, strapped, doing there at that time of night? Because they make it seem like he was in the park. No. You wasn't underneath. You wasn't in the park. You were underneath the George Washington Bridge, mad low key.
I guess where I'm coming from. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it is questionable what he was doing, but people have the right to walk around wherever they want to, and they shouldn't be targeted for.
Hold on. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying, right? I'm not. Everyone has the right. But what I'm saying, that's not even my point. My point is very suspicious that you would be there at that time of night. When I'm saying if you grew up in this neighborhood, you would never ever do that. And even if you didn't grow up in this neighborhood, you would not venture into that because the only way to go is through the overpass on 181st or to come south all the way from. You are not going there by mistake, right? And what I'm saying, I've noticed it for a while. There's some like things happening in that park prostitution wise, and the fact that dude was there To me, is that's the story. What was he doing there? The story is that he was in the park and got shot by two illegal, undocumented Dominicans. But what was he doing there in that park is the real story, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I come from that news world, right? And I can't imagine that unless it's clear and evident that he was doing something that that would ever be the story, because the story is that he was attacked by these two people. What I have an issue with is that this was basically a violent mugging, right? Had nothing to do that I can see with the fact that he was a border patrol agent who was, in plain clothes. It just happened to be that he was mugged. And what I had an issue with is in the beginning of the story, they were painting it like it was because he was a border patrol agent and that's why he was targeted. And it wasn't until a few hours into the news cycle that it was like, well, no, this didn't have anything to do with the fact that he was a border patrol agent. This was just a mugging, something that happens, in New York and anywhere else, basically everywhere. There are robberies and muggings. And yeah, you're right. I mean, why was he down there? Probably, maybe it was nefarious. I have no evidence to show me that, but definitely it was not the right place to be.
But
frankly, he was probably feeling safe because he had his gun.
Right, but when does the news media ever need evidence to tell a story in a certain framing? What I'm saying is, to me, the story of two people, two criminals finding an easy victim, it's an easy story. Yes, that was wrong. They're wrong, right? How did they get here? Whatever. But what I'm saying, what was that man doing there at that time of night is also a story. And again, the way we gloss it over like it's not a story is part of the problem. Right? Because it's somehow like, what is an off-duty border agent doing underneath the George Washington Bridge at 12:30 at night on a Saturday? There's no let's stop.
Let's ask.
That's a problem. That's a real issue.
Let's ask the audience to when this airs, it's going to be on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Put down in the comments what could possibly be happening under the bridge at that time.
I tell you because again, I see when I posted on Instagram, I see if you grew up in Washington Heights, if you're from this neighborhood, you grew up here, you will say, what the were you doing there? Right? Everyone else may not say that, and I understand that because it's for Washington Park. It's by the George Washington. It's right next to the Little Red Lighthouse. That's all nice, but that's in the daytime. Right? After midnight, after it gets dark, it's filled with drug addicts and people doing shit that they shouldn't be doing. Right? So what I'm saying, there's a bigger story that maybe he was doing a sting. But what was he doing? And again, the fact that everyone just does this, the media does this, and doesn't even think about it. It's just sympathy. Again, I feel bad. This is horrible. This person got shot. That's wrong. I'm not saying that's a good thing. But what I'm saying is, what was he doing there? Why don't we even investigate that?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the issues is that because this community is actually being threatened by ICE and Border Patrol, and Tom Honan is threatening us and saying that they're going to be flooding our neighborhood with Border Patrol agents and ICE, which apparently they have been. I mean, there's a lot of fear mongering that's happening, and so. People are afraid, rightfully afraid, because this is happening. So, I think that the fear was that this was targeting somebody because of the fact that he was Border Patrol. But I think the reality is more like everybody is on pins and needles. Whether you're the media waiting for something to blow up, like, because we saw in California how when the Border Patrol went to the farms, the farmers fought back, and somebody there had a gun and was shooting back at the Border Patrol. I don't know. Did you see that one? The where
Yeah,
the
someone
guy?
also died too. Someone also
Yeah,
died in the rush while they were,
yeah.
rushing them. Because listen, I'm really concerned about what could happen uptown. Right, it's not California, so it's a lot more close. It's dense, so it could get really ugly really fast. And even and again, what you see in a lot of these ICE videos is these men don't even seem professional, right? They just seem like they're just mass thugs. So you have like a recipe for a disaster on some of these blocks, right? You start grabbing up someone the wrong way, and that person might mean something to somebody very important. It could become a melee, right? And we had riots in 1992, and God forbid that happens again. But again, it's combustible, and it's combustible in a different way because it's very dense, so I just I'm hoping is that it doesn't get out of hand, because it could get easily out of hand up here.
The fact of the matter is that you know what priming the pump means. When you
Yeah,
prime the
yeah, for sure.
pump, you're
Trump
setting
thought
it.
he made that term up. You know that he thought he coined that phrase.
Well,
Anyway,
that's
go
what
ahead.
he's been. That's what he's been doing. He's been priming the pump because he's been getting everybody very, very, very angry. Right? Everybody's very angry, and so there is no like the fuse is very short. So when he floods our community with ice, there is a real fear that the community is not going to stand for it, and that the community is going to fight back. When we see people being taken away from courthouses, and we see people being taken away from hospitals, people that are living their lives, people that are not doing anything wrong, who just happen to be here undocumented, and the children of people who just happen to be here undocumented. I think the level of heartlessness is the point. The
Cruelty is the
infliction of
point. Yeah.
trauma is the point.
Hmm.
And I think that the point is also to get people to react violently, because
I
then
agree, 100%.
it gives them the
100%.
it gives them the ammunition to see, like, you see there, I told you they were this way. And so
I
it
agree.
takes
I
it
agree.
takes a lot it takes a lot of self-restraint and discipline for us, and for people who are under threat, to cógelo con take it easy, and just abusado. If you got to stay in. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
think that's the best. Be very vigilant. But also, we also have to be helpful to everyone else, right? And within reason, right? If you can record what's happening, you can do that from a safe distance. You could do that. You could warn. You could tell people what's happening. Put it on social. Tag the Uptown Collective, right? Like we're not powerless, right? So we got to be careful. So if you could do it from your window, record some video. If you see something, tag the Uptown Collective. We're gonna repost, right? Like we have to be careful. We also have to be, a community, right? And we have to look out for one another, right? Because I think what the madness of it all, right? We have a pedophile for president, right? Who's now, he's definitely, it's a fact, he's in the Epstein files, right? And he's dictating what happens to us. So we have to really, at this point, there's no more games. We have to really look out for one another. So if ICE is coming, you know what I mean? Don't get violent, because that violence is not going to work for us. But that doesn't mean that you can't record, you can't share, that you can't look out for everyone else, because
And
anyone in this community, we're working, right? So no one's illegal on stolen land, and I'm super duper ashamed of other Latinos selling out us, and I'm
yeah.
super upset about it. And every day I think about it, and I hate to say it, but I argue with these people every day on social. And it bothers me that we could sell out each other so fast for nothing. For a seat at the table you will never be given. When Laura Loomer says that we're gonna feed 65 million to the alligators and alligator Alcatraz, which is the name, right? They're talking about all of us. So those of you that think they're not the Latinos for Trump, that think they're not talking about you, they're talking about you too, stupid. And you help to
Yeah.
unleash this on our people. Sorry, I
Yeah.
gotta go on that side rap, but it
No.
bothers me.
No, and I feel angry just like you do, and one of the things that, to bring it back to the podcast, and because the podcast is about positivity, I mean, it is trying to be as positive as possible and bring out the good in people. One of the greatest, like, learnings or one of the greatest things that I'm constantly reminded about in the podcast, because everybody has said it and none of them have like spoken about it previously to one another about it, but it's this community building. It's this
Right.
idea that it's time for us to drop our fears of one another and talk to each other. So I'm all
100% right.
for like being on social and tagging what you see. Definitely do that. Tag Uptown Collective. But more than that, like talk to your neighbors, like face to
Yep.
face. Like, hey, how are
Right.
you doing? How are you handling this situation? Are you okay? Do you need anything? Like that
Right.
goes a lot further. I also want to just be wary of people that might be out there fear mongering and causing disinformation and possibly sending, putting, themselves out there because they want the clicks and likes. I did see people posting about ICE in the apartments, but I saw one in particular, and it was like he was told, somebody told him that they were there, and
Right.
it didn't actually show what was going on. Now, I'm not saying that it wasn't true. I'm just saying that it was secondhand information, and you never know if that's just fear mongering. And it's a shame because people are already scared. They don't need to be fear mongered. So definitely don't give secondhand information. Give your firsthand information.
Yeah,
If
but I'm
you,
not talking about secondhand. I'm talking about if you see something,
yeah,
record it, right? We're not
yeah,
talking about, hey, someone told this, right? I'm talking about you see something, record and tag, because again, I think social media could be a double-edged sword, right? But there is power when you tag because you can share, and I think that's important. You know what I mean? So I'm not talking about you talking about your friend told me. I'm talking about you seeing something, record it because we could share it. We could that family might see that person getting arrested and then know, hey, that person got arrested.
yeah,
That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like we have to
and
use the tools at our disposal, right?
yeah,
You
and
know what I
tag
mean?
the electeds too. Tag the electeds. At
I
least
could tag the
here,
electors, right? Like sometimes people can't think. Just tag Uptown
yeah,
Collective. Don't
yeah,
worry about everybody. We'll tag the electors, right? Because that's great to
gotcha,
tag the electors, but you may not think that in time when it's happening, you may not
yeah.
have the wherewithal to do that,
You gotta have the
right?
like
So
the quick.
make it simple. Bang, just tag Uptown Collective. We'll tag the electors. We'll tag everyone, right? Because this is happening.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true. And it's sad. I just wish we weren't in this situation. I just hate the fact that there's so much anger and fear in our community, but not just in our community, all over the country. And it's been it's been something that's been percolating, and I think it's we have to actively fight against fear of one another. I think that's the thing that yeah, there is bad in the world. I'm not saying that there isn't. Of course there's bad in the world, but there's a lot of good in the world too. A lot of good people, and reach out to those good people and make yourself available to other people when they're looking for help. That's what I think will help the community more than anything. And
No,
that's one of
but
the learnings. That's one of the learnings that I
A hundred
that I'm taking
percent, a
from
hundred
this.
percent. But what I'm saying that's the dichotomy, right? It has to be both. It has to be virtual and visceral, right?
Yes.
When you do the online and you do the in person, you do both.
Yes.
When you can do both, and then that's when you're working optimally, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's that like 'cause, okay, because of this. Like I'll tell you a stupid example real quick. I remember one time a long time ago, one of my favorite writers, someone put, "Hey, I'm reading Colson Whitehead's one of his books." Right? I love Colson Whitehead. So I knew that person. So I said, oh, I'm reading this. This is my favorite author too. And then he chimed in, right? Because we had tagged him. So that was a connection that you could have never had before social media, right? So by the same token, when something happens and we tag, we could really achieve people being aware of things. But then that also means you also do the other part where you do the community work, and that's why I think like my wife told me like her favorite episode so far has been the Maria Lizaldo of the Northern Manhattan Corporate Improvement Corporation, right? And the work they do and where she comes from and her story about being an immigrant, but just seeing her mom grind and making her grind and becoming this amazing person, this powerhouse in our community. Those are the stories I think people need to see too. Like a lot of times, you may hear, oh, there's a pantry here, food pantry here, or there's someone helping you with immigrant services here or housing services there, but you don't know who the people are behind the scenes. They're real people, and they're people that have a real story, right? They're like, that it wasn't an easy street, right? They didn't come from money and power. They came, from humble origins, and they made something of themselves, and they dedicated to community. Like, what is more beautiful than that,
Yeah. It's funny though, what you say about doing both the social and the in person. I think I told you this story, but I'll repeat it anyways. Like, on my social, somebody had posted a question to me about, hey, Octavio, what do you think? How do we make the people in this neighborhood be better? How do we help people? What do you think is the thing that needs to happen for people to be better in our community? And because of the podcast, I had a good answer. I was like, I think we should be neighborly, right? We should talk to each other. We should make time even in the hallways of our buildings to say hi and things like that. So a couple days go by, and I'm walking into my lobby of my building, and I'm going to the elevator, and somebody comes out of the elevator, and they're like, "Oh, hey, that was me who made that comment, that post." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So he's like my actual like neighbor from in my building.
That's
and
funny.
I thought, isn't it ironic that like my response to you was, let's be neighborly, and literally I was talking to one of my like next door neighbors. So
That's funny.
it's hilarious, but it's true. It's like, social is great, got to do social, but also don't just hide behind social, because that's too easy.
I agree. Don't be just like with Twitter fingers just talking. But it's funny. I just had a wild thought while you were saying that. The experience of what happened to you, because it happened to me, of course, a few times. He broke the fifth wall. You know how the fourth wall? This is the fifth wall, which is social media. That's interesting. Like that. It's funny when that happens, right? It's like, oh, like to have actual, hey, I posted a comment about this is interesting.
It is interesting because, I mean, social media and the internet and podcasting and all that stuff, it's interesting because on the one hand, it's real people, right? It's these, well, now it's really hard sometimes to tell if it's real people or not,
right,
to be quite honest. So that's yet another reason why we need to like back it up with like in person, because who knows if somebody's an AI created image.
Yeah.
But
the only AI I acknowledge is Allen Iverson. I'm just joking.
I do use AI. I ask it questions and things like that. Take it with a grain of salt. I use AI to create graphics sometimes because I'm a one-man band here.
Yeah, for sure.
Our little logo, that was created with AI. I don't have the chops.
Don't say that. They're gonna get mad when you say that. They're
Who's
gonna get mad at you.
It's
the people. They're gonna be upset now.
It's just a generic.
You just created
It's a
problems.
generic bridge. It's not even really the GW bridge. If you look at it closely, it's which Led did, by the way, when I showed it to him. He's like, that's not even the GW bridge. Or at least that's how I read the text.
Yeah. That's exactly how I said it. Yeah. That's hilarious. No, man, but it's been a great ride. Yeah.
It's been great. And we're going to keep doing it. And look, man, we're giving people 181 Cabrini is our sponsor. And it's giving our viewers, and it's giving our readers and our viewers free goodies. Like, please take advantage.
What do they get? What do they get?
You get a free beverage, a beer or a wine or a soda or a
free
coffee.
bev. Let's go.
A free bev or a free dessert, and they got good desserts there. They got the.
So what you gotta say? What you gotta say when you go?
Look, tell them you're watching Uptown Voices season 1, and at the end of each episode, there's a QR code. All right, bring that in. It looks like a mug of beer. The QR code looks like a mug of beer. Bring that in and get yourself some goodies, and that way the proprietor of 181 Cabrini can see that there's people that are watching this and that they're going into his establishment. So it helps you get free goodies. It helps us to show him that there's people here. And hopefully, in the future, that's going to be, the way that we can, local stuff is hard
for real
to monetize, right? Local stuff is hard to monetize. And that's not why we're really doing it, but but it would be helpful.
Yeah, and 181 Cabrini, like that's my local bar, right? So if I'm doing laundry in my building while closing the dryer, I'm gonna go to 181 Cabrini. To watch the Knicks games, I'm usually 181 Cabrini, right? Like Octavio might watch it in the dining room, but I can't because I'm too loud, so I'm watching it at the bar. But the steak sandwich is my favorite steak sandwich, Uptown. They make just, James really is dedicated to his craft, right? So when you're getting a sandwich, that bread, the baguette is going to be perfect. The meat is going to be perfect. Like there's a real craft to what he does.
Sorry to interrupt, but you don't know this, but our little jingle, our little intro music that I use is by Moby. Moby put out all this free music. So shout out to Moby. Thank you.
Shout out to Moby.
But one of the stipulations of using Moby's music is we can't mention meat and eating meat in the show because Moby is a vegan. So I'm gonna have to cut that all out, just so you know.
Really? That's true. How you even gonna know? Like, no, we don't gotta.
Yeah.
Now I'm a food. No, you can't do that. That's crazy. What Moby gonna do? Moby's
gonna make us take off his music.
So then let's not have his music on his thing. I want to talk about the steak sandwich. It's the best steak sandwich to town. Like, I'm sorry. Put another song for this thing then, because
all right,
Moby's
for this one I'll try to find but I gotta find another song then. I gotta find another song.
If Moby, I'm sorry, like that's too much. Moby's not. It's a great steak sandwich. Like, we're gonna stop someone from having a steak sandwich because of Moby? Like, nah, I'm sorry, Moby. Sorry, Moby.
Maybe this one will just have like that generic ass music that is.
That's fine. It's just Moby. If we have to abide by like is severe no meat, like that's crazy. So I can't be like, yo, you have beef with you, like, oh, you use the word beef.
No, you can say that, but you can't be like those chicken wings were delicious. Order the chicken wings. But and for this episode only, I will use some generic music and not the Moby music. But the fact that Moby put out free music,
that's dope. Moby,
for
thank
creators, that's pretty cool.
Thank you, Moby. Super appreciated, Moby. But
except for this episode, because we're going to talk about the
vegan thing.
We're going to talk about steak sandwiches and how good it is.
It's our sponsor. It's 181 Cabrini. That's their signature dish, in my opinion. That's funny.
Oh my god. Well, it's summertime. It's been a nice. We're recording this episode on the 24th. It's going to air later. You're going to be watching it. It's going to be a couple of weeks from now, actually.
I want to. Can I correct you really quickly? I'm sorry, Octavio.
Yeah.
It's not just summer. It's not just summer.
Oh, what is
it?
It's
Leo season. Leo season has begun. So all you non-Leos, I feel real sorry for you.
Are you a Leo? Obviously, you're a Leo.
Obviously, August 13th, same day as Fidel, but I'm not getting into that topic. But whatever. Leo season has begun, and I just feel more powerful, man. I'm just being honest. I feel like the world is in sync with me right now because it's Leo season. All Leos feel the same way right now. And I'm just trying to let Leos know, hey, we out here. This is our summer.
Well,
enjoy before Trump destroys it.
Before he burns it down. Yo, but what's going on with his health? Like, he looks terrible.
He got them cankles. He's got like those shoes are holding on for dear life. Those shoes are holding on for dear life.
I mean, who's ever heard of like getting bruises from handshakes?
It's from the IVs they're putting on him. They're giving him IVs. He's sickly because he only eats McDonald's and soda. Like, what do you expect? And hate.
I don't know. Actually, you've seen him how he shakes hands with people. It's kind of violent. He gets in there so maybe those bruises are for real from shaking hands because he's like
that's from the IV they're putting in his hand because he's having serious health issues. Yeah, that is I know, seriously, that's what nurses have said it. I've read it online. Like, that's serious. Look it up because he's getting IVs in his arms. That's why his arms. That's why. And they put makeup to hide everything because he's full of makeup. He's a total fraud.
He just you could just peel it off and be like.
I wouldn't rule out JD Vance poisoning him, but I don't know if that's true or not. That's allegedly.
I mean, yeah, talk on that, because if anything bad happens to this guy, as horrible as he is, then we've got this other guy in the wings, and then I don't know. It's just not good. It's not good.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
not a good thing. We have to hold on for dear life, and hopefully we will not make the same mistakes that
Yeah.
were made. In this
It's funny
election.
because life has become like the real life version of Project 2025, right?
Yo,
It's like we're actually living in Project 2025.
yeah, Handmaid's
And that's
Tale.
what's
It's
crazy.
like it's
Yeah,
coming to
it's
life. Handmaid's Tale is. I remember when Handmaid's Tale first came out during
Mm-hmm.
the first administration. Like I couldn't watch Handmaid's
Mm-hmm.
Tale because it was too reminiscent of what was going on. But then now I watched the whole season because I was
Yeah,
like
me
trying to
too.
learn what was going to happen next. You know.
Yeah, it feels like a documentary of what's like going to happen shortly. That's
Yeah.
what's so crazy. Like it feels real. Like it's
It's
crazy.
it's awful. It's awful. But yeah, man, I've been spending all day today just editing my butt off because I'm taking off. I'm going on vacation for a few weeks, and we got to have episodes ready while we're away, and then you're going to be going away on
But
vacation.
one thing I think we need to before you go there, right?
Yeah.
Every hero needs an origin story, right? Why is it
True.
that you are able to dedicate so much time to this? Because the rumor mill is that you were doged. So tell us about the Doge story, because not everyone knows it. We never got to talk about about your Doge story. So tell us the
Yeah,
Doge story.
yeah,
You've been doged.
yeah. I was doged. Okay, I was doged. So I'm a journalist. I've been a journalist for almost 30 years, and at the beginning of in September, I was hired on to the Internal Revenue Service to work in public relations there, and it was a great job. It was it was interesting because I was learning a lot about our tax code, and it was cool to be able to explain it on television to people that were interested about what was the latest new law, or what was tax season going to be like, or what were the things that people should know about, to be ready. So we were working it, and then Trump wins, and then Elon Musk starts Doge, and he starts poking around all over the government, and finally he comes to the Treasury Department. The Internal Revenue Service falls under Treasury, and he on a Wednesday, everybody who was a, a new employee, a probationary worker, got an email that said, tomorrow, Thursday, bring in your computer, bring in your phone, and that's it. That's your last day. Peace out. You're done.
Wow.
And yeah, and so we were like summarily fired. We weren't given any, not any warning, but certainly no severance or no health care, nothing. But the good thing is that the Treasury Department has the largest union in the country, and the union went to court for its workers, and we won in court. They had offered us a buyout. In the very beginning, it was very confusing, and so almost nobody took it. Once we went to court and everything went through the court, the buyout was more interesting. And so me and a lot of others took the buyout, which meant that this is the craziest thing. Elon Musk went in there looking for fraud and for waste. Instead, what happened is he kicked a bunch of us out and gave us 6 months of pay. So I've been not working, but I've been drawing a paycheck.
That's more fraud and waste on Musk's part. Like, that's so stupid.
It's the stupidest thing, because I'm just going to toot my own horn here. I mean, I'm a smart guy. I was doing a good job. I would have been a good employee for the
Right.
Internal Revenue Service. It's really dumb that that they fired me and a bunch of my colleagues, considering the fact that something like 60% of the people in the IRS are of retirement age. So there's going to be this huge, and there's probably already been this huge, outflow of people from the IRS, and not
Like
just
a brain
from
drain,
the
right?
yeah, not just from the PR department. And I don't know who's going back in there to do it. But anyway, I thought to myself, I have time now. What
Yeah,
am I going to
thank
do
God.
with this time? And this podcast is something that I've always wanted to do, something along these lines. I've always wanted to work with you, Led.
Likewise, brother.
I've been like a huge fan of yours for a long time. I love the work that you do.
Thank you, brother.
So that's my story. But so I want to ask you also about you, because I don't know, a lot of people don't know a lot about why you do this, because you're born and raised in Washington Heights. A lot of people can't wait to get out of their neighborhoods, whether it's the Heights or wherever they're from. They're always looking for that next best, greatest thing. So, like, to me, it's what's really one of the things that I am so appreciative about you is that you continue to have this love for your neighborhood and your community. And I want to know, like, where does that come from, and how does it stay alive in your heart?
You know what I mean? Like, to me, is I was kind of a child born like a flux, right? But it's always been uptown. So I actually wasn't born in the Heights. I was born in Metropolitan Hospital in El Barrio, right? That's where they send the really poor people. So that's where I was born. You know what I'm saying? But my mom was a super on 183rd in those brownstones that between Saint Nick and Audubon. My godfather, from DR, he owned the building, and my mom was a super in there. So that was the first place I lived, in 183rd. But I was only here for like 3 months. And then, I was shipped off to DR because my mom was an immigrant woman working, you know what I mean? So I went to DR. And then I came back like when I was almost 5, but came back to the Heights. So, every time I go away from the Heights, I always come back. Because it's just this love. My mom still lives uptown in the apartment that I grew up in. You know what I mean? That's a tremendous privilege, right? That I could go to my childhood home. I use one of my mom's bedrooms as like my office in theory, right? I pay my mom part of the rent just so she don't rent it out, because my mom will rent the room out to someone. I don't want someone in the house, so I've given her money so she keeps that as my office. But to be still, I just love this neighborhood. It really is what made me as a human being, and being Dominican, right? Like, Carmen de la Rosa, the council member who was one of our guests, and I always quote this thing that I heard her say, is that 1 in 8 New Yorkers is New York City is Dominican. You know what I mean? That's a lot. That's power, right? If we know how to use it. And and then Washington Heights specifically, right, is like the epicenter of the Dominican diaspora. Right, so so this is a very special neighborhood. Uptown in general is more than just like a neighborhood, right? Like, everyone's from the neighborhood, but these neighborhoods, Harlem, Washington Heights, and Inwood, are neighborhoods that have global impact, right? The whole black world knows what Harlem is, right? Dominicans know what Washington Heights is. Irish folks know what Inwood is, right? So there's this the connection that I've always kind of nurtured. And when I began broadcasting on a daily basis in 2010, it was just more like a homage to the neighborhood that I grew up in. But the times that I grew up in, the late 80s, early 90s, I didn't really go to certain places in the neighborhood, right? I didn't go usually past 181st South, and I usually don't go to Dykeman, because if I went there, I would have beef with those kids, and if those kids came to my neighborhood, they have beef with us. So it was only when I got older that I was like, oh, wow, there's so much history, so much culture. And, and sharing it has been important, you know what I mean? So, we're on my wife's side, we're 4 generations deep uptown. On my side, we're 3 generations deep, and I like to look at uptown as with a sense of ownership, right? Like, I don't own where I rent, but I own this neighborhood, and not just me, like, we own this neighborhood, and that's the way I approach it.
Yeah, I'm a transplant. Obviously, I'm not from here, but
But you've been here for like a long time, though. You've been here for like 20 plus years now at this point, right?
yeah, one of the things that I always talk about when people ask me about my neighborhood is because New York is such a crazy place. You see other neighborhoods with gentrification, and gentrification is happening here, but it has been happening. It's speeding up now, but it was happening on a slower scale when I was younger. So, luckily for me, the time that I moved into the neighborhood, which was in the mid '90s, mid to late '90s, more like it was like around '96 or so, '97. The neighborhood grew as I grew. It kind of like
Right. I can see that.
as I got myself more established in the working world and started earning more money, and then got myself a dog, things started changing in the neighborhood uh along with me. So I always felt like this neighborhood was growing like as I was growing. And I thank the Dominicans and the Dominican community in this neighborhood, who and so the OGs, like our parents and your parents and grandparents who came here, but then also like your generation led,
Right, right.
a lot of the people who left for college and then came back, not because they had to, but because they wanted to.
Right.
And one of the things, and so I think that was part of what kept this neighborhood stable and improving, is that it was a lot of like the children of the immigrants coming back into their communities and opening businesses after they've traveled outside of the state or gone to college for 4 years or been overseas or whatever. Now, I think what's happening now is a little different. We're seeing a lot of like investor types coming in, and the gentrification is happening much faster than what it was before. And I hope that as we build our community, continue to build our community, that we can salvage the neighborhood that we know as much as we can, and take the good things that come in, but also make sure that we don't lose what is already here, because in places like Williamsburg and Brooklyn, we've seen like communities being completely displaced, and we're seeing that happening here more and more, and that's sad.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because when you talk, it made me think about, like we've done now 11 episodes, right? Or this is our 11th. And again, you said it before about the caliber of people, and that's really true. Because I'm like, we had a great conversation with Mino Laura, my sister, my dear sister, who I love so much, from the People's Theater, right? Because the People's Theater started around the same time as the Uptown Collective, right? And Mina was grinding there, her husband Bob Braswell, creating something really special, and and it's happening. They're gonna have the Immigrant Center opening next year, right? They're gonna be theater, like that's one of those stories that you need to know about if you're in this community, right? Like because things are happening, but we have to work through it. Because again, I've said this before in the podcast. I don't think that this kind of like everyone wanting to live uptown and the gentrification is going to continue in the same way, right? I think that things are everyone's going to be poor soon, and I think that we need to know how to deal with that, and that's where community is even going to mutual aid, looking out for one another, is going to be even more important, and theater and the arts, and that's what I love with that episode. So go back to that episode, check out Mino, tell her story, right? Like that's the thing that's been so rewarding and edifying about this is really hearing the stories, the what how people got here, how they cope with through struggle and tribulations. It's been a great ride so far.
Yeah, for me too. And let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. I hope our audience will grow and keep growing. I know that we talk about, we're definitely not a fluffy place, but but we have fun. We have fun, and
Yeah.
we get into important topics and important issues, and we're going to continue to be looking out for people in our neighborhood and its community, Inwood, Washington Heights, and Harlem, West Harlem, and East Harlem. We want to talk to more folks. We're gonna keep looking for more folks to talk to, and we're gonna keep telling the stories of Uptown, what makes Uptown tick, because the rest of the city doesn't necessarily care about what's going on Uptown,
Right.
and
Right.
it's often difficult unless it's a border patrol agent getting shot in one of our parks. We don't get a lot of love from our
Mainstream
mainstream media. So
Facts.
we're here to try to fill a gap. Hopefully, if we can be successful here, that can continue to grow, and we can offer more ways of filling the gap. But for now, it's this podcast, and we're psyched about it, and we're gonna
Yeah,
keep doing
it's
it.
been a great ride so far. I'm
And I
enjoying it.
encourage, and if you're interested in being a part of this work as well, you've got ideas, hit us up. I'm O Blanco at livingamericana.com. Led, if you want to
No, I'm
give
not giving
yours.
my information. I'm sorry. Sorry, I can't do that.
Well, you can
Sorry.
reach out. You can reach out to me.
If
You can reach out to
him.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no,
just can't.
I
Right.
appreciate that.
My
I
bandwidth
appreciate
is only. Yeah.
No,
But
I appreciate that.
no, but Octavio, like I gotta tell you, man, you've been doing your thing, brother. It's been this wonderful ride, and you've been grinding, and I really appreciate it. And like
Thank you,
like I
dude.
feel like this has been a great journey. And again, I almost. You and I know, like, one of my, and it's one of your things, but it's really one of my things, is like the heroin epidemic uptown. And I got to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
a little bit with Carmen. One of the things that we didn't get to talk about afterwards that was mind blowing, right? And it goes into some of my theories, is the fact that De Blasio enacted it on the very last night, at midnight of his administration.
Yeah.
If that doesn't look nefarious, I don't know what does.
And look, I don't like to put people on blast, but On Point, come on the show. We have reached out to you. We've gotten a response back, very generic, that said basically, when we're ready, we'll come on. And I appreciate that. We're not here to hate on you. We're here to have a conversation with you about
let's
what's
talk.
going on. Let's talk, because that's what we need. We're definitely, we have issues with what's going on. Me and Led both live within
In the zone.
in the
the
zone,
zone.
in the
Right,
zone.
like,
So we see this every
yeah.
day.
Yeah,
And
my
we're-
theory is that there's a corridor that's been created on 180th from Amsterdam all the way to Cabrini that was created by that. And I understand the need for harm reduction, but if you're going to have harm reduction, have it everywhere. When you only put it in Washington Heights and El Barrio, and there's only 2 in the country. Let's go back to that. There's only 2 safe injection sites in the whole country. The whole country. And they're in Washington Heights and El Barrio, the only 2 places where people of color have any power on the island of Manhattan, and you put them there. It feels like an experiment, which it is, because it was enacted the night of a last term, right? And then you only put it here. If it's so important, put it everywhere, right? It feels like it's a Trojan horse for gentrification, and I've seen Fort Washington in this area degrade in a way that I've never seen in all my years living in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and Highbridge Park. You haven't walked through Highbridge Park lately. I did. I walked through Highbridge Park the other day, and it's sad. It's sad. Highbridge Park up in that area is. I mean, it's always been bad, but
Highbridge always been bad.
I've never
Highbridge
seen
was
it.
always bad,
No,
and
it's
it
always
went
been
through like
bad.
a little
It's-
bit of a yeah. You're right. No, what
but
I'm saying
I've
is
not
it
seen
went
it like
through.
this.
It went through a rejuvenation in the early 2000s where it wasn't as bad, and and that was the case for up to like 2015. But now it's going really bad.
It's really, really
it's crazy.
sad. And so,
and
so
the closer you get to the bridge, is worse.
And so On Point, really, for sure, we need to have a talk. We need to have you on. Please, let's make it happen. So on that note, this has been good. Again, I believe in harm reduction. I think it's a good thing to save people's lives, but not at the expense of a community. Not at the
Right.
expense of
Harm
a
reduction
community.
for whom? Right. If you're
Exactly.
putting it every 10 blocks, hey, that makes sense. But when you put it only here, you create a magnet for not just for drug addicts, right? But you also create a you also tell the people in this community, hey, there's going to be heroin addicts here, sell to them, right?
Yeah.
You're creating you're telling people sell. You're
See,
creating more criminals by putting them there. And that's
yeah.
the thing is, and we need like a multi-prong, multi-agency kind of aspect to this, because
I mean,
this is it's crazy. Like when I'm telling you, Octavio, listen, when I was a kid, right, and I went to buy a bag of weed on a block, right, I had to go in the basement, go to a door, do 3 knocks, do a secret password, cover my eye, right, jump on one foot, and then I would buy this bag of weed, right. But now when you go down a block, it's a dude in a car and he's rolling down the window, and it's not for weed, it's for heroin, and there's no police enforcement whatsoever. Like, it's out blatant, and there's a lot of money being made on that corridor, and it needs to be addressed, and it feels like the beginning of the crack era. When I was a kid, I didn't understand what I was witnessing. Right, I was just living in it. Right, you're just a kid. Oh wow, what this is. My neighborhood went from like graffiti to like crack overnight, and it became crazy. I didn't understand, but now you see it. We're at the beginnings of the heroin era uptown, and I think the elected officials, the people, we need to look at it like square in the face, not normalize it, not play games with it, right? I don't know if people have seen, like, if you Google Kensington, Philadelphia, it looks like The Walking Dead, right? And parts of this neighborhood are starting to look like that. And again, like we had the conversation with Joanna Garcia, right, talking about the Fort Washington Collegiate Church, right? If that piece of property, if that chunk of real estate somehow doesn't get developed and it just becomes a blight, then that's only going to lead to further encroachment. And that's why I think we need to be vigilant. We need to really be holding these elected officials accountable. We need to hold government accountable. We need to be honest and have these conversations, man. And that's why On Point needs to come on. Let's talk to us, right? It can't just be fluff pieces on mainstream media where they use these. We've had, what they said, we've reversed 500 overdoses. What does that really say? Really, what does it say? Because it doesn't say anything, right? It doesn't say how many times those are people, multiple offenders of overdoses, because it happens, right? It also doesn't say how many people stop doing. They never give you the stat where how many people stop doing heroin. They never give you that stat, right? So it's like their model is addict centric, but I think the model needs to be community centric. And until we get to community centric, we're just hurting the community.
Yeah,
at this point,
because it's actually, it's not gonna work, this experiment, if we're just gonna have 2 places in the whole country. It's just not gonna work.
It seems like an experiment and a punishment. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's what it
because
feels
it's
like.
just not going to work. You can't just have 2 of these places in the whole country. Like you say, if it's that much of an important thing, and guess what? JD Vance said it was, but I haven't heard a peep out of him about the how he's going to help addicts get better, or what kind of money he's going to put in so that there's resources for small towns,
JD
towns.
Vance.
Well,
It's JD
I
Vance.
know, but listen. One of the things that people don't realize, and you didn't know this, but a lot of these small towns that have big heroin issues, they don't take care of their issues in their small town. The way that they take care of their issues is they buy the addicts a one-way bus ticket to New York or to Philadelphia or to Burlington, Vermont, like, get them out of the small towns because, we can't deal with them here. That is just not going to be how this situation is going to be resolved. And with these 2 places in the whole country being here, it's offensive, really, because it's just not going to ultimately, like, solve the problem. It's not a solution if that's how you're going to do it. Anyway, that's my.
It's not a solution. And again, I believe in harm reduction, and this is not to on all of harm reduction. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I'm talking about specifically safe injection sites. There's only 2 of them in the country, and both of them are uptown. that right there to me means experiment. That means you're trying something novel and you're not taking us into consideration. There was no community input, as we learned with Carmen de la Rosa, and it was passed in the dead of night. Things that are passed in the dead of night are never good.
And so anyway, to not to cut this off, we're gonna cut it off.
We got time though. We got this is our shit. Like we don't gotta go nowhere. You because you flying to Paris, you just you now you can't talk no more. Like what are you talking about? We got time.
I got
to Paris though, right?
I've got a very important thing that I got to take care
Are you
of.
wearing a beret the whole time there?
The whole time there, I'm growing my mustache out and wearing a beret.
If you see a mime, please take a picture. Please take a picture if you see a mime.
I'm going to mime school, actually. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to come back here. You'll see me on 181st following
the Uptown Mime. The Uptown Mime.
The Uptown Mime Academy. I'm opening the Uptown Mime Academy.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, my God. That's so funny. But enjoy your time. Just enjoy your time there, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. We're going to do, when we come back, we'll do a photo dump. I'm not a big fan of posting while I'm on vacation. I like to post when I'm done with the vacation. So not to.
I've never had French food. Is it good?
French food?
I mean, I kind of have French food, but not really. I've never been to a French restaurant.
Yeah, it's good. It's like everything else. There's like all different kinds of French food. I actually studied in when I was in college. I did my semester abroad in Strasbourg, France, which is up in Alsace-Lorraine.
You fancy?
Yeah. It's right on the border with Germany. So the cool thing about that food up there is that it's like German quantity with like French quality, so it was
nice.
Like really.
And I want to say I do have French family, right? Like through marriage, right? So I want to say shout out to Manuel, who's my brother, Moreno's wife, and shout out to that family. But what I'm saying, I never been to a French restaurant, but I remember seeing on TV where they could they debone a fish, like perfectly.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever seen that where they like it's a French
at your table? No,
yeah,
I mean
that looks pretty cool.
We're gonna go and I'll tell you all about it when we come back. I haven't. Nice. I'm sure that I have been to a French restaurant, but it was a long time ago. I remember I did eat snails. They eat snails.
Is that good? Escargot?
It's basically just like chewy butter and garlic.
With garlic. That sounds amazing.
So it's good. Awesome. It's like a vehicle for your bread. You dip your bread in there, the baguette. But yeah, it's I
heard they're very rude to foreigners, especially Americans. So right now might be an interesting time to go.
We'll see. Look, they're very particular about stuff. Like you have to say good morning. They want you to be polite.
I'm cool with that.
And for them, like when you approach a French person, you can't just like say you're lost. You can't just be like, this happens in New York all the time. Like a tourist will just run up on you and be like, how do I get to blah, 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 blah. And you won't take into consideration
I see what you're saying.
That maybe you're on your way somewhere, right? Like, what if they were like, hey, excuse me, do you have a second? I'm a little bit lost. Can you help me?
Gotcha.
More than most New Yorkers will stop and be like, yeah, I can help you. Where do you need to go? It's the same thing in Paris.
We'll see when you come back. You be like, they were so rude to me. I was trying to be nice.
We'll see.
That's funny. But I got two shout outs. First of all, I got two shout outs before we go because we got time. I know you're going to Paris tomorrow, but I'm not done yet. So now I want to shout out two things. I got the Coogan's Way, street sign. Shout out to Coogan's. It's always for real. And Peter Walsh, rest in peace, Peter Walsh. And we got the Dave Hunt episode. You got to check that out. And then the Lead Black little thing there, that's from Martarita, who did that at a Uptown Collective Christmas party like in 2012 or something. She's a dope artist from Harlem. Super incredible. You got to check her out. Go on Instagram and check her out.
But I think if we're going to be shouting people out, we definitely need to shout out some important people. I want to shout out my wife, Kathy Blanco. She's been super supportive of all this madness. She tiptoes around when we're recording. And my son Dante, he's great. Like he gets real serious when it's time for me to do an interview. He's like, okay, good luck on your
Nice.
interview, Dad. Good luck on your
Nice.
interview. So I want to shout out my family because they've been super supportive in this. I ran into Rachel La Loca from
That's my
Latinos
homegirl.
Alive.
Yeah, that's my sister.
Ran into her at Mariana Josa's birthday party, and so she told me, oh, that's your pod wife. So that's a new term that I had never heard, but yeah, my pod wife Kathy Blanco.
That's hilarious.
So I want to shout her out. I also want to shout out my number one fan. I think is my mom, Joan Blanco in North Carolina. She watches every
Nice.
episode, and
Oh, that's so cool.
she's
Oh,
one of the
hello.
she's yeah,
Hello.
say hi. She's so supportive, and she thinks that we're doing a great job. She loves you, Led. She thinks you're great.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. Tell us hello. Tell her my
so just
love.
know that.
Besos. That's
And
awesome.
also, one of the cool things that you may not know, but we have worldwide viewership actually.
Alright.
The
Bang.
you can look at we in the little like software that I use to publish these things. We've got viewers in Norway, in England,
Norway in the house.
Canada,
Canada in the house.
Israel,
Canada, we love you. What Trump says, we love you, Canada.
Israel, Dominican Republic, of course. We have
DR in the
Dominican,
building.
Costa Rica. That was an interesting one.
La bella de mi
So
sama.
we've got
Costa
worldwide
Rica, that's
reach.
dope.
Yeah, we've got worldwide reach. It's not just just New York City and Washington Heights and the United States. It's global. I mean, it's a few people, but it's cool to see
That's
that.
dope. It's the beginning of something. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I got to shout out my wife too, Eileen Fuentes. A lot of people know her in the community. She's been involved with community. She's a Washington Heights OG, and I got 3 beautiful daughters, Imani, Layla, and Soraya, and all 3 are doing their thing. Really hard. Imani, the oldest, she had a film that was her first short film called City of Dreams. It was on AMC Plus for the month of June. And we're still on the circuit with that. And even though it's almost a 2-year-old film, it's still on the film festival circuit. And she got a second film called Tigueronas. And it's a really dope, another short film. She was selected for the Latino Film Festival in LA, and where Netflix was involved. And she did. It's an amazing short film. And hopefully, we'll see it. Everyone can see it in shortly in New York sometime. It screened in LA back in late May. And what's cool about that is that my middle child Layla did the first song for the movie, and then my baby Soraya, who's not a baby anymore, she styled the film. So, and my wife helped with casting, and and I was a PA, so it was a family affair. So shout out to the fam, and I want to shout out the community. I also want to shout out my brother Mike Diaz, Juan Bago. So, he's our pod father in a sense, right? He gave us crucial information, when we needed it. And he just had a second child. So I don't know if I'm breaking the news. I don't know if I should have said it, but I said it. So congratulations to him. He has 2 boys now. He's creating a little squad there. They can run a full court. And shout out to his wife. But he really helped us out at the beginning of this, kind of giving us really sage advice. So shout out to him. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And just, I'm really thankful to you, Led.
Likewise, brother.
That you agreed to do this. I think it's important, and let's see where it takes us, man. Let's see where it takes us.
Yeah, I think this is something that it may not, it means something now, of course, but it's gonna mean a lot more down the line, right? When you look back and you see what we were talking about, this is historic in a sense, right? So that's why I think we're putting footprints down, and I think it's important. So when you look back, you have this archive, and that's what it's about.
And it's just the beginning. This is just the beginning. It's amazing that we've done 11 episodes, because that's
Sure.
more than a lot of people ever do for their
Yeah.
podcasts. 11 episodes is good, but we're gonna keep at it. We've been calling this our pilot season. I don't know if it's a pilot season anymore or what it is, but it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Let's not mess it up by putting a label on it, Octavio. No, but it's been amazing, man. This has been a good run, you know what I mean? And I'm super excited.
Yeah,
Super excited. And
So,
then so much stuff happening, you know. So I'm excited. The New York Latino Film Festival returns in September. I'm the social media director for that, and then I'm back on that grind start August 1st. So you know, look out for that. So hopefully, Calixto right now, Chinchilla, who's the executive director, was just calling me. So we're starting to have meetings. Hopefully, you know, we'll get him on the show too to talk about the festival. You know, it is the premier Latino film event in the country. You know, every year, year in, year out for the last you know, bunch of years, we've been like dominating Hispanic Heritage Month in New York City. So the week that we have the New York Latino Film Festival, we shut down the city, and that's not hyperbole. That's true. So look out for it. And then we always end it with a Dykeman Block Party. Last year we had the Penguin Show that has a Dominican as a co-star. You know, to my opinion, that was the best activation Dykeman has seen thus far. So you know, this year we're gonna have even more surprises. So look out for that.
that's great. And I guess I'll also let it be known that I am launching my podcast production company. So anybody out there who wants to create a podcast and is interested in being a podcaster, but you're too busy, you know, podcasting is not easy, but it is time consuming. But you know, I can do the work. You just need to have an hour to spare to talk about what's important to you. Podcasting is a great way to elevate your profile. You know, if you're somebody who's looking to be a thought leader in the community, if you're a professional, you just don't have time, but you have ideas and you want to discuss them, talk to me. We'll make it happen, and we'll get your podcast up and running. And like I said, for me, this has been a great time. It's been so fulfilling. And so I think that for anybody who's interested in doing it, you can have the same level of fulfillment and, you know, really do something with what's going on inside of you. Bring it out, you know, make that happen. So I'm here to help.
Perfect. All right, y'all. So we'll talk soon. The first Black and Blanco is in the bag, you know?
Yeah,
so
for Black and
many
Blanco.
more to come. Yeah.
All right, brother.
All right, y'all. I enjoy your trip, brother.
Thank you. I'll see you in August.
Yes. And then I'm going to DR.
Oh yeah, then you're going
Nice.
to DR.
That's right.
Peace. Enjoy your vacation
Peace.
too.
All right, brother. Talk to you later.
Thanks for joining us in this episode of Uptown Voices, brought to you by 181 Cabrini, your neighborhood bistro just steps away from the North Walk of the George Washington Bridge. Use the code Uptown Voices Season 1 for your discount. And to stay up to date on the latest in Uptown, you can follow Uptown Collective on Instagram, Facebook, and X. If you're watching Uptown Voices on YouTube, don't forget to smash the subscribe button and to give us a like. And don't forget, we also need financial contributions from listeners like you to produce, improve, and expand our content. To contribute, please scan the QR code on the screen or visit www.livingamericana.com. That's living without a G. Until next time, this has been Uptown Voices.